All right, as promised, we will do the preview tonight. That way, tomorrow I'm freed up to watch hockey and do other videos on other things. It is kind of the slow time of year because we're ramping up to the playoffs in about a month's time. And between now and then, there's a lot of waiting around. I'm really considering doing a welcome back to the playoffs Tampa Bay video tomorrow since they clinched today by Montreal losing. But that's kind of a fait accompli. We knew they were going to be in the playoffs, so I'm not sure how I would approach said video. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. First up, the Ottawa Senators are in Boston. And, Boston's got points in 18 straight games. And there was a little bit of luck involved in that win over Florida. They played well, but I really thought Florida was going to win that for about 59 minutes of the game. And then all of a sudden, nope. And Ottawa doesn't come in as a team that scares me, but Boston's due for a loss. They're just due. It's just they have to lose at some point in time. They're 41-17-9, whereas Ottawa's 23-39-6. On the road, Ottawa's 9-23-2, which is not a good record, and at home, Boston's 26-7-3. So this may very well not be where Boston loses, but I'm waiting for it. Boston's won three in a row against Ottawa this year. This would be their fourth and final meeting. And it's funny because there's a lot of people talking about Boston right now, and they look like contenders. I'm not going that far, even though they've got points in 18 straight games. I'm very proud of the record they've put together right now. I still don't know if I like how they'd match up against Tampa, and I still want to see how they do against Toronto, because as great as this run's been, they're not that far ahead of Toronto. Scoring over the last 10 games. On the Ottawa side, it's a little bit thin. Duclair, 2 goals, 4 assists. White, 2 goals, 4 assists. Bobby Ryan, a goal and 2 assists. Gibbons with 2 goals and 3 assists. He's been great since he got to Ottawa. Bodker with 3 assists. Wolanin with a goal and 2 assists. And Ceci with 3 assists to round things out for Ottawa. On the Boston side, Marchand, 5 goals, 6 assists. Bergeron, 5 goals, 4 assists. Krejci, 3 goals and 9 assists. Backus with 2 assists. And there's Charlie Coyle. Depth scoring, 0 points. And it's the first time I've put Coyle on the board since Boston acquired him from Minnesota. And this is kind of where I was scared. Hopefully he gets on the board. Because again, when your team hasn't lost in regulation in 18 games, everything feels really good. But I still want to see a little bit more from some depth guys. And I'm harder on teams I cheer for. McAvoy, 3 goals, 3 assists. Krug with a goal and 5 assists. Goaltenders. I don't think we've got anything confirmed, but I'll double check. All right. Ottawa's goaltender's been confirmed as Craig Anderson. He's 0-5-1 in their last 10 games with an .898 save percentage. Anders Nilsson's 1-3 with an .853 save percentage. Oof. On the Boston side, Halak. Rask's 5-0-1 in their last 10 games with a .924 save percentage. Halak's 4-0-0 with a .950 save percentage. Yeah, Boston's goaltending's been pretty good. Ottawa sits 27 points out of the playoffs. Probably not going to make it. I think it's official if they lose tomorrow in regulation. Anyways, Boston's number 2 in the Atlantic, and they're 4 points ahead of Toronto. And so Toronto will be very interested in this game. Leaf fans may very well be cheering for Ottawa in this game, which may feel weird for Leaf fans, but we'll see what happens with that one. Next up, Vegas. Vegas Golden Knights are in Vancouver tomorrow night. Vancouver's been pretty gracious hosts for certain teams lately. The last time these teams met, Vegas beat Vancouver with relative ease. Vegas is 37-26-5, and they've kind of got it going on now. Vancouver's 28-31-9. And you get the feeling that they want to end strongly, but hopes of the season progressing into mid-April, those are gone. On the road, Vegas is 16-16-1. This is the one glaring weakness in the Vegas game is still that their road record is middling. At home, Vancouver's 15-12-4. Vegas has won 2 out of 3 meetings between these teams this year. This will be their final meeting, unless they meet in the playoffs, which they won't because Vancouver's not going to the playoffs. Over their last 10 games, William Karlsson, 2 goals, 5 assists. Smith, 4 goals and 6 assists. Stastny, 2 goals, 6 assists. Stone with 2 goals and 4 assists. I've mentioned it before, Stone's game is more than scoring. It's the whole package. So he's been very impressive for them overall. Alex Tuck, they want more out of him. He's got a goal and 3 assists in their last 10 games. So while people may zero in on Peary and say, well, Brendan Peary's only got a goal and no assists in the last 10 games he's played. I don't look at Peary and see a guy that you're expecting a lot out of. But with Tuck and with that contract, a goal and 3 assists in 10 games doesn't cut it. Theodore, 3 goals, 5 assists in England with a goal and an assist. The good news for Tuck is, with Stone in town and with the amount of players they've added, he doesn't really need to be the prime guy. He doesn't need to be the go-to guy. On the Vancouver side for scoring, Horvat, 3 goals and an assist in his last 10 games. Besser, 2 goals and 6 assists. So while his goal scoring is not very good over the last little while, I agree that he's holding onto the puck too long. He's got some confidence issues. He is at least doing well with the passing. Gaudette, 2 goals and 3 assists. Gaudette's been pretty solid. Roussel, 3 goals, 3 assists. Josh Levo, thank you Toronto, 2 goals and an assist in his last 10 games. Alex Edler, 3 goals in his last 10 games, including 2 in his last 2 games. And Pouliot with 2 assists. I threw him up there because why not? Starting goalies, no confirmation, so it's probably Fleury. He's 4-2-1 in their last 10 with a .928 save percentage, but this might be a place to put Subban in. He's 2-1 in their last 10 games with a .914 save percentage. On the Vancouver side of things, I expect Markstrom. He's 3-3-2 in their last 10 games with a .931 save percentage. Demko's 0-2 in their last 10 games, .862 save percentage for him. Kid will learn. A lot of potential there with Demko. I'm not really worried about his numbers right now. Vegas is number 3 in the Pacific. They're 9 points behind Calgary, or 9 points behind San Jose, 10 points behind Calgary, and 8 points ahead of Arizona. So they're pretty solidly entrenched in third place. Vancouver is 9 points out of the playoffs. They're not going to the playoffs. It's not going to happen. And for Vegas, they can run their win streak to 6 with a win tomorrow night. That's a pretty solid win streak. So we'll see what happens with that one. Chicago, who are watching their playoff hopes fade, but not completely. But yeah, almost completely. The Minnesota loss kind of opens things up, and then tomorrow night they're in against Dallas. So I guess they're still in there. They're 28-30-9, whereas Dallas is 35-27-5, and Dallas has won 4 in a row. On the road, Chicago's 13-17-3 at home. Dallas 21-10-2, and I've been saying it over the last few days. Dallas is making me a believer, which makes me angry. Because usually late in the season, when I become a believer in Dallas, they fall out. They fall out of the playoffs. This season, I don't think it's going to happen. And I'm hopeful, which is also, it's odd territory to be in. But the goaltending has just given me a lot of hope for Dallas right now. This series between these two teams, they've both won 1. So this is their third meeting. They'll meet one more time before the end of the year. Goal scorers, point scorers over their last 10 games. DeBrincat, 7 goals, 4 assists over their last 10. Strome with 3 goals, 6 assists. Kane, 7 goals, 7 assists. He continues to go at an insane pace. Anisimov, 5 goals, 2 assists. Kunitz with a goal and an assist. Kuku has 3 assists in their last 10 games. And Gustav Forsling has a goal in the last 10 games he's been in. On the Dallas side, Tyler Seguin, 3 goals, 4 assists. Jamie Benn, 6 goals and 1 assist, so 7 points in his last 10 games. Dickinson, 4 assists. Spezza, 2 goals, 3 assists. Radulov, thanks to the hat trick, 5 goals and 3 assists. Heiskanen, 3 assists. And Klingberg has 2 goals and 6 assists to round out the Dallas scoring. Klingberg's been fantastic this season again. He's not in any talks for Norris because he hasn't played enough games this year, really. And he hasn't had a Norris-level season. He hasn't been as good this year as last year, but still pretty solid offensive defenseman all around. No confirmation on goaltenders, but it's interesting looking at their goaltenders in the last 10 games they've been able to play in. Because Crawford's, it's the last 10 games he's been on the active roster. He's 3-3-1 with an .885 save percentage. Ward is 3-3 with an .884 save percentage. Very little difference between Cam Ward and Crawford. I kind of expect Ward here. On the goaltending side for Dallas, I'd be very surprised if it's not Bishop. They haven't confirmed it yet. He has a shutout streak of 144 minutes and some seconds. He's 4-2 in their last 10 games with a 957 save percentage. Hudobin 3-2, 923 save percentage. So overall, their goaltending has been fantastic in Dallas. Chicago's 9 points out of the playoffs. Dallas is the number one wild card. They're 3 points behind St. Louis for third spot in that division. They're 1 point ahead of Minnesota, but they have 2 games in hand, and this is one of them. So Dallas can create some space between themselves and Minnesota and Arizona and Colorado below them. And they can also gain some space on St. Louis, depending on what St. Louis does tomorrow night when they play against San Jose. But this is a big game for Dallas because Chicago's a really good test. Yes, they've backed out of the playoff hunt again, but it's a good test for a team that's got this fantastic defense in Dallas because Chicago's got a pretty solid offense. So we'll see how that works out for them. Next up, Philly. As their hopes fade for the playoffs, and they have faded, now they get to go in and try to kind of ruin things for the New York Islanders. And playing the role of spoilers, probably all they've got left. They're 32-27-8, and I don't think they have any delusions right now about their position. It's tenuous. The good news for them is Montreal losing tonight. They have games in hand on Montreal. They can get close to Montreal. They absolutely can. The trick is Columbus kind of has to stay in the underachieving role, or else Philly won't be. Philly has to catch and pass both. And tomorrow night they're in against the 39-21-7 New York Islanders. So with their 32-27-8 record on the road, Philadelphia's 15-14-4. At home, the Islanders are 20-10-4. Islanders are solid at home. Both teams have won a game in this series this year. This is the third of 4 meetings between them. Lindblom, 4 goals and 4 assists in the last 10 games for Philly. Couturier, 3 goals, 10 assists. Giroux, 3 goals, 8 assists. Nolan Patrick with a goal and 5 assists. Konechny with 6 goals, 3 assists. Sanheim, who's been on a tear, 4 goals, 4 assists. And Haig with 2 assists for Philly. On the Islanders side of things, Lee with 5 goals. Bailey a goal and 7 assists. Barzal a goal, 3 assists. Eberle 4 assists. Filppula 4 goals, 2 assists for him. Leddy a goal and 3 assists. And Boychuk 4 assists to round things out for the Islanders. Elliott's been confirmed to start tomorrow for Philly. He's been the better goaltender. He's 3-1-1 in the last 10 games he's been active for. 923 save percentage. Talbot has a single win and a 918 save percentage. I would expect Greiss until Leonard's healthy, and then Leonard will play. Greiss 2-2 in their last 10 games with a 920 save percentage. Gibson serving as the backup until Leonard's back from his upper body injury. And we'll see how that works out for the Islanders. I don't foresee any major trouble because honestly, Greiss has been really solid this year. And the issue really for me with the Islanders is if their goaltending is average, they don't really have the scoring to make up for it. And Philly's a team that can pile it on offensively. So this game, you may look at it and you may say, well, Philly's 7 points out. The Islanders are number 2 in the Metro, which means it's an Islanders game all the way. They're 2 points behind Washington. They're 4 points ahead of 4 points ahead of Pittsburgh, 6 points ahead of Carolina. But Philly, I don't count them out. Not in a game. Maybe for the playoffs. I'm saying, yeah, the playoffs aren't likely, but they've shown a lot of pride and a lot of fight over the last few weeks, and I don't see that changing in tomorrow night's game. So we'll see. It's not a fait accompli that the Islanders are going to win this. Next up, Carolina. This was not Carolina's night tonight, was it? Now, fresh off of an 8-1 loss to the Winnipeg Jets. 8-1. And they left McElhinney hung out to dry, which means Mrazek's starting tomorrow. It's not confirmed, but I'm confirming it. In against Nashville, the Nashville Predators are going to be looking at what happened tonight, and they're going to say, awesome, we get these guys on back-to-back nights. We've got to jump on them early and make them doubt themselves. Carolina's 36-24-7. Nashville's 39-25-5. On the road, Carolina's 18-13-3. At home, Nashville 22-12-1. Carolina won this game in Carolina. Now it's in Nashville. Nashville's trying to even the season series. It's going to be interesting to see how Carolina handles this, because that absolute beatdown they took from Winnipeg, that was pretty massive. And usually when a team takes a beatdown like that, they normally come back, bounce back, and win the next game. But since it's in Nashville, that's going to be a tall task. Over their last 10 games, Aho with 5 goals, 6 assists. Niederreiter, 3 goals, 6 assists. Stahl with a goal and 5 assists. Teravainen, a goal and 9 assists. Martinook, 2 goals and 1 assist. Hamilton, 2 goals, 4 assists. And Pesce with a goal and 4 assists. On the Nashville side of things, Forsberg, 2 goals, 2 assists in his last 10 games. Arvidsson, 3 goals, 2 assists. Granlund, who's been kind of underachieving since getting there. Maybe he's getting used to it, but they're in the playoff chase, so get used to it quick. He's got 2 goals and 2 assists in his last 10 games. Craig Smith, 3 goals, 2 assists. Grimaldi with a goal and 4 assists. Yossi with 4 goals, 4 assists. And PK Subban, 2 goals and 3 assists to round things out for Nashville. Goaltending, I expect Mrazek. I'd be really surprised. Over their last 10 games, McElhinney is 3-2-1 with a .906 save percentage. Yeah, tonight hurt. Mrazek 4-0-0 with a .942 save percentage. On the Nashville side, Rinne over their last 10 games is 5-2 with a .911 save percentage, and Saros 1-2 with a .933 save percentage. So probably Rinne, but you could go with Saros too. The numbers are still good. Carolina, of course, is the number 1 wild card right now. They're tied with Montreal. Montreal, of course, also getting embarrassed tonight. So those wild cards in the East, tonight they didn't get it done, and they leave things somewhat open for the teams behind them to catch them. We'll see if Columbus can take advantage. Carolina's 2 points behind Pittsburgh. They're 2 points ahead of Columbus and 7 points ahead of Philly. Nashville's second in the Central. They're 1 point behind Winnipeg and 5 ahead of St. Louis. Nashville has games in hand on nobody. After tomorrow, I believe they have, 12 or 13 games left after tomorrow. It's going to be interesting. Well, I can look at it right here. Yeah, they hit game 70 tomorrow. So they've played more games than everybody else, and that does make the math kind of difficult for them. They have to get some help from other teams, but with 12 games left, it's nothing to worry about yet. Last one on this board, St. Louis, 36-25-6. They're in against the 40-19-8 San Jose Sharks, these guys. On the road, St. Louis is 19-11-4. At home, San Jose is an impressive 22-5-5. So if St. Louis is going to pick this back up, and there's a feeling that St. Louis was on this incredible run, and they're still winning games, but that some of that momentum, it's really hard to maintain that. And tomorrow night against San Jose, it's really going to be tested. Over their last 10 games, Shen, 2 goals, 8 assists. Tarasenko, 3 goals, 7 assists. Bozak, 2 goals, 4 assists. Thomas, also with 2 goals and 4 assists. Schwartz, 1 goal, 2 assists. And I keep waiting for Jaden Schwartz to really get things going. Pietrangelo, 4 goals, 4 assists. And Parayko with a goal and 2 assists. What stands out for me is that Tarasenko's goal scoring has settled down again. Pietrangelo is the number 1 scorer on the board of the guys that I picked. The season series between these teams is tied at 1, so this is their final meeting of the year. On the San Jose side, Couture over their last 10 games, 3 goals, 5 assists. Pavelski, 6 goals, 5 assists. Hurdle, 4 goals and 2 assists for him. LeBanc with a goal and 7 assists for the San Jose Sharks. Sorensen, 4 goals, 2 assists. He's been red hot lately. Burns, 2 goals and 8 assists. And Marc-Edouard Vlasic with 3 assists to round out your San Jose scorers. Goaltending, no confirmation. I'll say Bennington's going to go in for St. Louis because why not? Allen over their last 10 games, though, is 1-1-1 with a .930 save percentage. Bennington, 5-2 with a .925 save percentage. On the San Jose side, it's probably going to be Jones. Jones is 5-3-1 in their last 10 games with an .895 save percentage. Dell with a win in his decision and an .885 save percentage. St. Louis, of course, number 3 in the Central, 5 points behind Nashville, but they've got 2 games in hand. So if Nashville loses at home in regulation, They win in regulation in San Jose. They pull within 3 points, 2 games in hand. Their destiny's in their own hands. They're 3 points ahead of Dallas. They're 4 points ahead of Minnesota. There are no games in hand between them and Dallas, but they have 2 games in hand on Minnesota. San Jose's second in the Pacific, 1 point behind Calgary. This is their game in hand they have on Calgary. If they win it, they bounce past them. And suddenly we're talking about Calgary and Calgary and Vegas as a potential first-round matchup, to which Calgary and Vegas fans would say, we'll take that. Thank you very much. San Jose's 9 points up on Vegas. So with a win tomorrow night, they can bounce past Calgary, and we could talk about San Jose potentially playing Minnesota, whoever they play in the first round. And again, then we'd end up with Calgary and Vegas. And I think that's a meeting that a lot of people would want to see based on the meeting they had this week and the one they're going to have on Sunday as well. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and change sports. Pittsburgh, Columbus. This is a big meeting. This is go time for Columbus. This is do or die time for Columbus. This is when Matt Duchene proves he wants a really good contract in the summer. If Matt Duchene doesn't produce for a Columbus team that falls out of the playoffs, and right now they're not in, and if Duchene doesn't score well with Columbus, that's going to drive down how much money he can get in the summer. Pittsburgh's 36, 22, and 9 overall. Columbus is 37, 27, and 3. And what I'm talking about with Duchene is sort of like when Ryan Miller went to St. Louis from Buffalo, and the idea was he was going to St. Louis because he was going to get them over that hump and he was going to get them somewhere, and then he flamed out. He ended up taking a contract in Vancouver, probably for what the money he wanted, but not really the opportunity he was probably looking for. And that's something Duchene has to be worried about. Anyways, 37, 27, and 3 is the record for Columbus on the road. Pittsburgh 17, 10, and 7 at home. Columbus isn't very good. Let's be honest. 17, 16, and 2. That's not a great record for a team that's well above 500 on the road. Pittsburgh's won all 3 meetings between these teams this year. Like I said, this really is tomorrow night. This is a major night for Columbus. Scoring over their last 10 games, Crosby's making the league look weak again. 6 goals, 15 assists in his last 10 games. Ho-hum. Gensel, 6 goals, 5 assists. Kessel, 1 goal and 8 assists. He finally got that 22nd goal. Bukestad, 3 goals, 2 assists. Hornquist, a goal and 4 assists. Dumoulin, a goal and an assist. And Patterson, 1 goal, 3 assists. He's been performing quite well, I think, in games I've seen at Pittsburgh's. Since he arrived from Anaheim, he's been a pretty solid player. On the Columbus side, Dubois really needs to step up. He has a goal and 2 assists in his last 10 games. Panarin, a goal and 5 assists. He's gone quiet. Duchene, a goal and 4 assists. Quiet. Dzingel, a goal and 4 assists. Predictably quiet. Dzingel, it feels like, is kind of overachieved with the 20-goal season. When you look at the rest of his career, it's a little bit out of line, so you can't expect primary scoring from Dzingel. But he has to get more than a goal in 10 games. Atkinson, 4 goals, 2 assists in his last 10 games. Seth Jones, 2 goals, 1 assist. And Werenski with 5 assists. On the goaltending side, no confirmations here. I would be surprised if it's not Murray. Murray's 5-1-2 in their last 10 games with a .915 save percentage. Casey DeSmith, 1-1 with an .893 save percentage. On the Columbus side, I would expect Bobrovsky. He had that maintenance day, right? He's 4-4 with a .910 save percentage in their last 10 games. Korpisalo's 0-2 with an .873. So if you're a Columbus fan that has not a lot of faith in Korpisalo, that's probably well-founded right now. Pittsburgh's number 3 in the Metro. 2 points ahead of Carolina. 2 points ahead of Montreal. 4 points ahead of Columbus. So it's pretty tightly bunched. Pittsburgh can do themselves a big favor by winning this one in regulation. And, of course, Columbus right now, the news with them is they're outside the playoffs. And they've played their way out of the playoffs. Now they've got to play their way back in. And Matt Duchene really needs to prove that he's worth what they gave up for him, or else Pierre Dorian's going to look pretty smart at the end of the year. At least smarter than he looked at the deadline, right? That's why you don't declare winners and losers on deadline day. Like, oh, look, Columbus, the huge winners. Not right now. Next up, Buffalo, 30, 28, and 9. In against the 29, 27, and 12 Colorado Avalanche. The Avs, of course, got the news today that Gabriel Landeskog is out for 4 to 6 weeks. They say upper body, looks like a shoulder. That may very well do it. I don't know that the depth scoring for Colorado was enough to make up for it. But one thing I'll take issue with, Doug McLean said today, he said he considered them to be out of it. Then he talked about how they've played their way out of it recently, and their goaltending hasn't been any good. Their goaltending's been excellent over the last 10 games. The goaltending's no longer been the problem. So I'm just throwing that out there. If you saw that report, goaltending has not been the issue for Colorado this month, as in February and March. Before that, yes, the goaltending was pretty abysmal. On the road, Buffalo's 11, 18, and 5. At home, Colorado's 14, 12, and 6. And this is a meeting that in November is a meeting between two of the best teams in the league. And now in March, it's two teams sitting outside the playoffs. That's how dramatic a shift we've seen. Colorado won the meeting in Buffalo this year. Over their last 10 games, Jack Eichel, 7 goals, 4 assists. Reinhart, 5 goals, 3 assists. Skinner, no goals and 5 assists for him over the last 10 games. Sherry, 3 goals, 4 assists. Pominville, 2 goals, 2 assists. Dahlin, 2 goals, 3 assists. And Montour, who's been a solid addition from Anaheim, 2 goals and 2 assists for him. On the Colorado side, Brassard, who's going to be counted on for a little more scoring than anticipated while Landeskog's out, 2 goals and an assist over his last 10 games. McKinnon, 5 goals, 4 assists. Rantanen, 5 goals, 4 assists. Soderberg, 3 goals and 6 assists. Andrighetto with 5 assists. Barry, a goal and 5 assists. And Gerard with a goal and an assist. Goaltending, no confirmation. Your guess is as good as mine. I would go with Hutton for Buffalo. Over their last 10, he's 1, 2, and 2 with a .917 save percentage. Those numbers aren't great, but Ullmark, 1 and 4 with an .892 save percentage. So Ullmark, who early in the year wasn't losing in regulation, now he is. I think they should go with Hutton. Varlamov, I would expect here. He's 5, 2, and 1 in their last 10 with a .927 save percentage. Grubauer, 1 and 1 in their last 10 with a .969 save percentage. So again, goaltending hasn't been an issue for them. Not recently. Buffalo, 10 points out of the playoffs, which is insane considering where they were a couple months ago. Colorado, 4 points out of the playoffs. That's rough. It's rough because you got two fan bases that were expecting something more early in the year. Buffalo fans seem to be exuberant about the idea of making the playoffs, and Jack Eichel especially seemed to be feeling the weight of the world off of his shoulders that they were winning. I do wonder how Jack feels right now with the way this season has gone. Detroit, playing out the string. They're in against Tampa. Tampa clinched a playoff spot tonight with the loss by the Montreal Canadiens. So Tampa's got to be feeling like, okay, we're going to make the playoffs. With 106 points, they knew they were going to make the playoffs. Detroit, 24, 33, and 10. So Detroit has 58 points. And that's about half of what Tampa has. They're just over half of Tampa's points this year. That's ridiculous. On the road, I say ridiculous so many times with Tampa. It's like Fezzik in Princess Bride with Inconceivable. It's the same thing. 11, 16, and 5 with... no, not Fezzik. All right, no. Never mind. Fezzik's Andre. 11, 16, and 5 for Detroit on the road. 28, 6, and 2 for Tampa Bay at home. Vicini is the... I know, guys are yelling at the screen now. It's Vicini. Why am I talking about Princess Bride to the Hockey Guy? Tampa Bay has won both meetings between these teams. This is the third and final meeting. And yes, Princess Bride is one of the greatest movies of all time. Over their last 10 games, Bertuzzi, 3 goals, 2 assists. Mantha, 4 goals and 7 assists. Vanek, a goal and 2 assists. Helm with 2 goals and an assist. N with a goal and 2 assists. DeKaiser, a goal and 2 assists. And Cronwall with a goal and 3 assists. Tampa, I wanted to look at Tampa. They have this great record, right? How many guys are they waiting for to get hot? This is where it gets scary. Stamkos has 2 goals and 8 assists. Not bad. But here's the guys who are waiting to get hot. Tyler Johnson, 2 goals and an assist. Alex Killorn, a goal and 2 assists. JT Miller, 3 goals and an assist. Matthew Joseph, rookie, I understand, limited time, 2 assists. He's shown scoring prowess at points this year. McDonough, 2 goals and an assist, and Coburn with 3 assists. There are a lot of guys in Tampa with good offense, good offensive skill, who haven't had to produce. If they do, the team gets better. Yeah. Goaltenders, I expect Howard for Detroit. His numbers haven't been good. Their last 10 games, he's 2-3 with an .876 save percentage. Bernier's 0-2-3 in his last 5 appearances in their last 10 games with an .891 save percentage. On the Tampa Bay side, I'd throw Domingue in here. Vasilevsky's 7-1 in their last 10 with a .949. Domingue's 1-1 with a .915 over their last 10 games. Detroit's 21 points out of the playoffs. That's a lot. For those who are doing the math at home, that qualifies as a lot of points. Tampa Bay's number 1 in the Atlantic, 15 points ahead of Boston, 19 points ahead of Toronto. It's not going to be very long until they clinch the division. I give it maybe a week and a half. We'll be talking about, well, Tampa clinched the division now. This is just ridiculous. Absolutely ludicrous. All right, next up. New Jersey and the Rangers. Neither of these teams are going to the playoffs, right? So what's on the line? Well, for New Jersey, they didn't get a goal tonight, so that's smarts. They're 25-34-9. They're in against the hated rivals, the New York Rangers, who are 27-28-12. The fact they're rivals usually produces a pretty good game, even when there's nothing on the line. On the road, New Jersey's a miserable 8-22-3. At home, the Rangers 16-11-8. So their home record, not what it was early in the year, but still not that bad. The Rangers have won both meetings with New Jersey, which means they meet again before the end of the year after this one. Now, scoring over the last 10 games, Palmieri with a goal and 3 assists. He's really fallen off. Agostino with a goal and an assist. Nason with an assist. Joey Anderson with a goal. Coleman with an assist. Severson with a goal and 5 assists. And Will Butcher with 2 assists. This is a hurting lineup. And it's not getting a lot better. And we'll see what happens with New Jersey the rest of the season. But if everybody gets hurt, it probably just means a better draft position. On the Rangers side of things, Zibanejad, 2 goals, 5 assists in their last 10 games. Strome, 4 goals, 2 assists. Brendan Lemieux, watch that kid. Goal and 2 assists. Buchnevich, 4 goals, 3 assists. Chris Kreider with 2 goals and 4 assists. D'Angelo with 8 assists in his last 10 games. Brady Shea, 3 goals and 2 assists. Goaltenders, I expect Schneider because Blackwood played tonight. Last 10 games, Schneider's 3-2-1 with a .931 save percentage. In the last 10 games he's been on the roster for, Blackwood is 1-5 with a .927 save percentage. The save percentage is great. The record isn't. It's not his fault. On the Rangers side of things, I kind of expect Georgiev here because they're testing him out a lot. Over their last 10, both goalies are 1-2-2. Lundqvist has a .922 save percentage. Georgiev's got a .908 save percentage. But overall, it's not a huge difference between these two teams. New Jersey's 20 points out of the playoffs. The Rangers are 13 points out of the playoffs. So it's a meeting between two teams that are basically going in the same direction. Much like last year, the Rangers are falling off after the trade deadline, and the New Jersey Devils had fallen off before that. So they got a head start on it. All right, next up, Toronto. The Maple Leafs 41-21-5 in against the 30-30-7 Edmonton Oilers. Forgive me, my throat's just really dry. It's the after effect of this cold, so I've been coughing and all that, so now I'm going to end up losing my voice at some point, so I'm going to soldier through this. On the road, Toronto is 29-4. At home, the Oilers are 15-15-2. It's a very unusual record the Oilers have. 15-15-2 at home, 15-15-5 away from home. They really like the number 15. They need to hit 16, and they need it to be a win. Their hopes, slim. But they're still talking about their hopes for making the playoffs. Toronto won the one meeting they had in Toronto this year. This is the second and final meeting. This one, of course, being in Edmonton. And Toronto should be angry coming off that loss to Vancouver, to be honest. Over their last 10 games, Hyman, 6 goals and 1 assist. Marner with 3 goals and 10 assists. Give that kid $12 million. Matthews, 3 goals and 4 assists. Janssen, 4 goals and an assist. Marleau with a goal and 4 assists. Riley, 2 goals, 5 assists. And over their last 10 games, Marinson with 3 assists to round things out for the Leafs. On the Edmonton side, McDavid, 2 goals, 10 assists over their last 10 games. So see, Marner has outscored McDavid. Clearly, Marner deserves more money. I'm kidding. I don't mean that. Cassian, 4 goals and an assist. Draisaitl, 7 goals, 9 assists. Gagne, 3 goals and 2 assists. Lucic with 3 assists. Russell with 5 assists. And Matt Benning, 1 assist in the last 10 games he's played. Goaltenders, I expect Sparks here, to be honest. Remember, we talked about how Anderson was likely going to play less than half the games. That tells me Sparks probably plays here. Anderson's 5-2-2 in their last 10 with a .925 save percentage. Sparks 0-1 with an .838 save percentage. On the Edmonton side of things, I expect Koskinen, because he starts every game now. He's 6-2-2 in their last 10 with a .926 save percentage. Stallers, no record and a .900 save percentage. For Toronto, it's simple. They're third in the Atlantic. They're 4 points back of Boston. If Boston loses to Ottawa and they could beat Edmonton, if that happens in regulation on both sides, they pull within a couple of points. They're not that far back. They can absolutely make that up. Edmonton, 7 points back. It's kind of dodgy. Even though we can talk about how it's the West and the West is weaker. Edmonton, it is an uphill climb for them if they're going to make the playoffs. But they're playing games that mean something, and it's March 9th tomorrow, so that's at least something for them, right? Because at this point last year, I'm pretty sure they weren't playing games that really meant a whole lot of anything. Next up, and finally, LA. So for the Kings, as they wind down their season, and some veteran players wind down what's been a miserable year for them, they're in against Anaheim. Or not Anaheim, Arizona. I said Anaheim because I was going to say Anaheim's had this nice turnaround, and tonight they win against Montreal 8-2, and it feels like there's all these young kids that are kind of taking over the show in Anaheim. LA, you don't get that same kind of feeling with. And in against Arizona tomorrow, they're going to be in against a team that's determined, that's showing a lot of heart, and LA, that hasn't been that evident for them. They're 24-35-8 overall, whereas Arizona's 33-29-5. And Arizona, with a win tomorrow night and some help, they can get themselves not just within striking distance of Minnesota, but perhaps within something more than that. Maybe they can get within striking distance of Dallas, too. On the road, the LA Kings are 11-18-5 at home. That's been getting better for Arizona. They're now 16-15-3. Both teams have won a game between these two this year, which means after tomorrow night they still have one more game left between each other. Kopitar over their last 10 games, 2 goals, 4 assists. Toffoli stands out with that 1 assist over their last 10 games. Leipzig, 2 goals, 2 assists. Adrian Kempe, 1 goal, 2 assists. Iafallo, 3 goals and an assist. Doughty with 5 assists. And Sean Walker with a goal and 2 assists for the LA Kings. On the Arizona side, Krause, 3 goals, 3 assists. Dvorak with 2 assists. Keller, 2 goals and 2 assists in his last 10 games. Hinostroza, 2 goals and 6 assists. Mario Kempe, 1 assist in the last 10 games he's been in. Ekman Larsson, 2 goals, 6 assists. And Chychrun, 2 goals and 4 assists, rounds things out for Arizona. Goaltenders, I expect Quick because for whatever reason they're playing him in every game. I don't know. He's 1-5-1 in the last 10 games they've played with an .855 save percentage. It's brutal, and it seems like it's getting worse. Campbell's 0-2-1 with an .895 save percentage. So his save percentage is 40 points higher. I would play Campbell, but we'll see, right? On the Arizona side of things, Kemper I would expect to play because they need to win every game. He's 8-1 in their last 10 with a .949 save percentage. Pickard, 0-1 with an .875 save percentage. LA's 18 points out of the playoffs. Arizona's 3 points back of Minnesota. They've got 2 games in hand. So they're 3 points back, but if they can win those games in hand, they can slot themselves in ahead of Minnesota. Dallas, they're 4 points back of Dallas. They've played the same amount of games as Dallas. But again, Dallas loses in regulation. Arizona wins their game. They're within 2 of Dallas, within 1 of Minnesota. And that makes the race all the more interesting. So there you go. You guys are all set for tomorrow's games. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. To those of you in Europe, good morning. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And you'll notice there's some stuff starting to go up on the walls. It's a slow process, which I'm hoping to speed up this weekend. But hey, thank you guys so much for all your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.